Good morning. Welcome to Hiram Hikes. I'm Hiram. It is a little after 6, about 10 minutes past 6. There's the FULHARTT knob shelter. You can see one tent set up over beyond the shelter. You can see the sun just starting to peek up. Again, the camera makes it look lighter than it is. Sun's not up yet. And I have my backpack on. And this is the trail back to the AT. I think it's 1/10, 2/10 off the AT. Headlamp wouldn't hurt, but I don't think I really need it. I do have a light on my trekking pole that I may use, may not. I did experiment with it a little bit last night. I wanted to hike at night, but I think I bit off too much. Tried to bite off too much at one time. I did set my hammock up and experiment with that here in the woods, and that was good. My goal today is to hike as best I can. Then when it gets hot, maybe I'll take a 2-3 hour siesta, see if I can nap, see how that works. Kind of a neat site here. It's too late now for really to show, but really is sitting up on a knob, and all but right in this direction right here. As you looked around during the night, you could see the lights from the towns and whatnot down below twinkling. So kind of almost surrounding the whole campsite is you're not at the end of the world. It just kind of feels like it up here, but you can see it, particularly at night. You can see the lights in the houses and community down below. Again, the sky, hopefully it shows up well. Just starting to turn orange over in that direction behind the shelter where the sun's coming up. Maybe I'll get a better picture of it later. Headed north. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Sign up to the shelter. 18 north is in this direction, downhill for a little bit, then it's going to be going up. One term I haven't, and trail AT south is in that direction, shelter up this way. Term I haven't used yet, I don't think on any of my videos, is web blazing. People refer to it as web blazing. It's typically when you're the first one out in the morning. It seems like the spiders are busy overnight, and there's spider webs across the trail. This morning, just hiking down to the sign here from the shelter, I've got all the spider webs on the side trail, on my legs and a little bit in my face. So I'll be web blazing this morning, working my way through the spider webs as I head north, because obviously. Good morning. 8:15, 2 hours into my hiking day. I'm headed down right now. This is actually a pretty steep down. I don't think show up, but you can see the hill is, hopefully you can see from the angle between the trees and the hill. The hill's a pretty steep down. Going that way, that's north. Came down this is about vertical, straight out, and then you can see it come down the hill from up that way. 10:15. Yeah, that's straight up and down. The trees are all kind of leaning. On the side of a pretty steep hill. 4 hours, done 5.6 miles. I'm okay with that. Some of the trail's been kind of rocky ups and downs. Quite a bit of it's been steep up and steep down, but not real bad. The rocks haven't been real bad. They just slow you down a bit. And the roots, same thing. You get an area with a lot of roots and just slows you down a bit. You can see I'm on the side of a pretty steep embankment, but they've used a lot of switchbacks taking me down. Continue down. There's a shelter coming up that I think it's near the trail, and if it is, I'll go in and do a video from the shelter. If not, I'll probably blow right by it, because it's like a mile and a half away, and it's only 10:15. Current plan is probably to hike another couple of hours, and then maybe 4, I don't know. Hike a while, and then consider setting up the hammock and taking a nap for 2-3 hours through the heat of the day. We'll see how that works. It's, I would say, mid-70s right now, maybe a little bit warmer. This is north. I'm headed downhill for a while. There's a stream down in the bottom of this valley. I can hear it from here. I know you just heard a plane go overhead, but... and then, like I say, the shelter's like a mile and a half away, something like that. So that'll probably be the next video. I'll let you pause this if you want to read it. What it talks about is that this open area right here was a collier's pit going back to the 17 and 1800s, early 1800s, when they made charcoal in this area. and then transferred the charcoal to for making iron. And it talks about the history and how they eventually switched over to coal, and that was the end of that business, which is a good thing because it took large tracts of land, cutting down trees simply to make charcoal to help process the iron. Heading north. The stream I crossed, named after the shelter we're about to go to, is right here. Pretty good little stream. Despite the fact that they discourage it in this area, there have been a number of decent stealth sites near pretty much all of the water crossings that I've been by today. One of them had a campsite, a listed campsite near it. The others, though, had usable stealth sites. So I had said I wasn't going to stop and take a ton of flower pictures, but this one's different. So you get this assembly at the bottom and this really unique kind of stem with the things coming out from it, and then this flower at the top, which honestly this is a mountain azalea kind of getting in there, mountain laurel, excuse me, getting in there blocking it. But there's the flower at the top. I've never seen anything quite like that. The closest thing I've seen is something more cactus-like out in Hawaii, but never seen it. Don't have any idea what it is. This is mountain laurel, and you can see some of that is out. It's pretty. This is kind of a good example of showing one blossom that's open, and then a couple that are starting, and then the buds. Some of it is more open, as you can see. But that other one, I hadn't seen anything like it, so I figured I'd take a picture of it. Maybe somebody can tell me what it is. So I'm at Wilson Creek Shelter. Some good campsites. Privy out back, shortly off the trail. It's about a half mile from Wilson Creek. So as the notes suggest, you might want to consider getting your water there, because there's a Blue Blaze trail that Rod showed up shortly after I got here. He was at the shelter I was at last night. He just went down to get water. And the notes imply that it's a pretty steep, fairly long downhill. He hasn't come back yet. Probably will. Shelter's pretty standard, pretty typical. Does look like they replaced the deck a few years back. Maybe not. It's just a fairly new construction on cement posts. Doesn't look too bad. No issues. Picnic table out front. Ricola just showed up. He was at the shelter last night as well. You get the standard grate that they have at most of the Virginia shelters. It's pretty good. So, and a number of tent sites. So, not bad and not far off the trail. I'm not staying. It just stopped raining. Got in here, had something to eat, and it started to rain for a while, and it just stopped. You can see the roof's still wet, but doesn't get collected here. They actually have a water source here rather than collecting rainwater. So I'm getting ready to pack up and head north. So I am just heading out from the shelter, heading north. 12:39. It rained for a while, which kept me sitting there, and also like 5 more people showed up, which kept me sitting there talking with everybody as they came in. So, and now I'm getting ready to head north, which I'm pretty sure is in that direction since I came from the other direction. There's a long trail down going this way to get water. Rod went down to get water. Rod was in the shelter with me last night, and Ricola was in the shelter with me last night, and then, like I said, a bunch more people came in. All started later than me, and several of whom I saw in the Smokies back when I was hiking there. So now I'm headed north. So North Carolina and Georgia seemed like one never-ending rhododendron jungle, and I can only imagine what it looks like now. Here you can see there's rhododendrons. There's nowhere near as many up in Virginia, at least not in the parts I've seen so far. You can see. So it's 12:30. No, it's 2:30. 2 hours after 12:30, which is when I left the campsite shelter. You can see the rhododendrons out, and if you look, all of these little blossoms in back, and there's a few open down there. This is all mountain laurel, and then over in back there's a big bush of mountain laurel. So it looks so much different than it did 10 days ago, and in the next very few days I suspect it's going to look a lot different, because there's all this mountain laurel will come out, and there's more rhododendron to come out. So really getting very pretty here as you look down the trail. There's more rhododendron. I started seeing more rhododendron right after that comment I made about not seeing as much as down south. So starting about a little after 2, I've been kind of looking for a place to pitch my hammock. It's up over 80. I'm not hiking efficiently, shall we say. Not hardly hiking at all. I'm just moving slow and sucking water. So if I find a good spot with preferably shade and a breeze, I will throw up my hammock and try to take a 2-3 hour nap. So Black Horse Gap is like 50 yards, 75 yards that way. It's just the other side of that gray fence. Southbound is this way. Northbound goes up the hill, goes up that way. So the trail does not come out to this road. But clearly Black Horse Gap, and you can see a decent view down there. I'm not walking down to get you a better one, sorry. Hasn't been a lot of good views today. The trees and the foliage, just like right here, I mean, I'm sure there'd be a great view if it wasn't for all these leaves. But it's a major road here, so it should be real easy as far as shuttling in and out of Black Horse Gap. So I set up my hammock. I got about an hour and a half. Got a little bit of a nap. Trail's right there. Road's right there. And it's about 4:30. About 5 miles to the shelter. And about a quarter mile off trail to get to the shelter, I guess. Down some switchbacks. But anyway, it's cooled down a little bit. I'm a little bit rested and cooled off. I'm gonna head north. Okay, this part of the trail is following the Blue Ridge Parkway. So this is my first view of the day, and it's actually a pull-off from the Blue Ridge Parkway. And you can see the guardrail over there is the road, the Blue Ridge Parkway, and the AT goes up in that direction somewhere. I see a white blaze on that yield sign. So I'm gonna go up to that yield sign and probably be right before I dip back into the woods. Maybe I'll take a picture over in the other direction. Heading north. So there's the view from the other side, looking across. And there's the yield sign and where the AT drops back into the woods. And I gotta get going. Yay, I got rid of my trash. Still right around there's a Blue Ridge Parkway right over there. I'm not going across, unless the trail goes across. Gotta get going, headed north. So it's after 6:30 and I'm behind schedule. I don't know how far it is to the shelter, I just gotta get going. But I have a really good excuse because I'm just gonna do a quickie. Everyone that's hiked by me earlier and we're all headed to the shelter, we're all gathered here at one of the pull-offs and they had ordered pizza. And someone shared a slice of pizza with me. And now they're all headed, one person actually already headed to the shelter and the rest of them will be passing me shortly. So, because they're all the way quicker than I am. But they're not all gonna get there like hours before me like they were before. So I gotta head north and head for the shelter. Give you more update later.